There's something happening to women over 60 that nobody wants to talk about, but everyone is experiencing. Women in this age group are gaining weight faster than any generation that came before them. And it has absolutely nothing to do with willpower or self control. Your body is slowly changing gears as you age. Hormones shift in ways you can't see or feel until the damage is done. Muscles shrink even when you think you're staying active. Digestion slows down to a crawl. What experts are now warning about is that six silent, everyday mistakes are secretly switching off your body's ability to burn fat, slowing down your metabolism to dangerous levels, and forcing women past 60 to store fat even while they're eating what they believe are healthy foods. The scary part is that most of these mistakes are disguised as good habits, the kind of things you've been told for decades are safe and healthy. Think about this for a moment. Research shows that women over 60 burn 400 fewer calories per day than they did in their 30s, even with the same amount of activity and movement. 400 calories might not sound like much, but it's actually the difference between staying lean and slowly adding a pound to your body every 9 days. That adds up fast. In this discussion, we're going to reveal all six mistakes ranked from number six down to the number one hidden danger that is considered the most destructive of them all. Number three is so common it might be happening in your home tonight without you even realizing it. Before we dive deep into these mistakes, think about where you are right now in your journey. What's been the hardest part of controlling your weight after 60? Your story might help another woman who's fighting the same battle, feeling the same frustration, wondering why nothing seems to work anymore. Now, let's start with mistake number six, which is ignoring protein at breakfast and why it quietly makes women over 60 gain weight without them understanding what's happening. One of the most common mistakes women in their senior years make is starting the day with almost no protein. Breakfast is often toast with jam, a bowl of cereal with milk, or maybe just coffee with a muffin on the side. It feels light and easy. It feels safe and like you're being careful with calories, but it quietly destroys your metabolism in ways you can't see happening. Here's why this matters so much. Protein isn't just for people who lift weights or go to the gym every day. It's actually the single most important nutrient for keeping your muscles alive and functioning after you turn 60. Your muscles are the engines that burn calories throughout the day, even when you're sitting still. Lose muscle and your body burns fewer calories automatically, which means fat builds up faster and faster. A study found that women over 60 who ate at least 25 g of protein at breakfast had significantly more lean muscle mass than those who didn't eat protein in the morning. Even more interesting, they burned an extra 100 calories per day just from this one change. That may not sound like much at first, but over the course of a year, that's more than 10 lbs of fat gone without changing anything else about your life or diet. Here's a real world picture of how this plays out. Think about a woman named Diane who is 67 years old. For years, she thought she was being healthy with her light breakfast of coffee and toast. She kept her calories low, avoided fatty foods, and felt proud of her discipline. But she was always tired by medium morning and couldn't figure out why her belly fat kept growing despite eating so little. The day she switched to Greek yogurt with berries and a boiled egg, everything changed. Within a few weeks, she had more energy than she'd felt in years. Over the following months, her waistline began to shrink without any other changes to her routine. The science behind this is actually quite simple when you break it down. When you skip protein at breakfast, your body has to turn to something else for fuel and energy. It starts breaking down muscle tissue to get what it needs. The less muscle you have, the slower your metabolism becomes. It's like taking the spark plugs out of an engine and wondering why it just sputters and fails. Protein also reduces hunger hormones in powerful ways, so women who skip it in the morning tend to overeat later in the day without even realizing they're doing it. This mistake often goes unnoticed because women think they're saving calories at breakfast, being smart and disciplined. But the truth is that skipping protein in the morning sets you up for more fat gain and less energy all day long. This is only the beginning because mistake number five is even sneakier, something most women in their senior years do every single night without thinking, and it slows their metabolism while they sleep. For decades, women were told that fat was the enemy of health and weight loss. Labels screamed low fat and fat-free as if those words were the same as healthy. Store shelves were packed with products promising guilt-free eating. But here's the shocking truth that's hard to accept. Most low-fat packaged foods are actually traps that make women over 60 gain more weight, not less. Why does this happen? Because when food manufacturers strip out the fat from their products, they have to replace it with something else to make it taste good and feel satisfying in your mouth. Usually, that replacement is refined carbs, added sugars, and chemical additives you can't even pronounce. A major study revealed that people who regularly ate low-fat snacks and processed foods actually consumed 30% more sugar daily than those who didn't touch these products. That sugar doesn't just disappear into thin air. In women over 60, it gets stored right around the belly, hips, and thighs, accelerating dangerous fat accumulation that's hard to reverse. This isn't only about numbers on a scale, it's about what's happening inside your body with your hormones. After 60, estrogen levels drop dramatically, which means your body already has a much harder time managing blood sugar and burning fat efficiently. Add in the constant sugar spikes from low-fat yogurt cups, granola bars labeled as healthy, or salad dressings that claim to be guilt-free, and you're essentially feeding a condition where your body stores more and more fat. That means slower metabolism and a roller coaster of cravings that feels impossible to get off once you're on it. It's not your fault that you fell for these products. It's the way these foods are designed and marketed specifically to appeal to health-conscious women. Take Helen, a 68-year-old woman. For years, she believed she was making the smart choice by eating fat-free strawberry yogurt every morning, proudly avoiding what she thought was the villain in her diet. But despite taking daily walks and watching what she ate, her belly fat crept up month after month. Her energy levels tanked to the point where she could barely get through the afternoon. Her doctor warned her that her blood sugar levels were climbing steadily toward a dangerous range. When she finally swapped her fat-free yogurt for plain Greek yogurt with real healthy fats, not only did her cravings calm down dramatically, but within 3 months she lost 12 lbs without changing anything else in her diet or exercise routine. So the next time you're tempted by a box or container labeled low fat, remember that the missing fat has been replaced with something far more dangerous to your health and waistline. For women over 60, that silent mistake can mean the difference between a strong, lean body or a slow, frustrating climb in weight that no amount of traditional dieting seems to fix. Now let's move to mistake number 4, which is a daily habit many women completely overlook. Yet, it quietly programs the body to gain weight even when calories aren't excessive. If there's one silent mistake that creeps up on women over 60, it's the overall lack of protein in the daily diet, not just at breakfast, but throughout the entire day. For decades, the diet industry trained women in their senior years to fear calories, cut portions down to almost nothing, and swap regular meals for light snacks that barely provide any nutrition. But here's the harsh truth that nobody wants to hear. Protein is not the enemy. In fact, without enough of it throughout the day, your body starts burning away muscle tissue instead of fat. That means your metabolism slows to a crawl. Your bones lose strength and density. Your belly fat keeps expanding no matter how little you actually eat. Let's make this real with another example. Meet Joyce, who is 67 years old. For years, she ate what most people would call the classic diet for a woman her age. Toast with jam for breakfast, a small salad with light dressing for lunch, and maybe some crackers in the afternoon to hold her over until dinner. By evening, she felt exhausted, achy all over, and completely discouraged by her growing waistline despite eating so little food. Her doctor pointed out something she'd never considered. She was only getting around 40 grams of protein per day, which was less than half of what her body actually needed to maintain muscle and metabolism. When Joyce shifted to having eggs with spinach in the morning, chicken or lentils at lunch, and fish or cottage cheese at dinner, her energy shot up dramatically. Within 6 months, she lost noticeable belly fat, regained real strength in her legs, and said she finally felt like her body was working with her instead of against her in everything she tried to do. This isn't just about weight on a scale. Protein fuels the production of hormones that regulate fat metabolism throughout your body. Without enough protein, insulin levels swing wildly out of control, leading to more and more fat storage around the abdomen and internal organs. Women in their senior years often mistake the fatigue, brain fog, and muscle weakness that comes from protein deficiency as just normal aging. They accept it as inevitable. But in reality, it's a form of malnutrition and that's disguised in plain sight, hidden behind the appearance of eating regular meals. The fix is surprisingly simple when you know what to do. You need to prioritize protein at every single meal, not just one. Instead of plain cereal in the morning, add Greek yogurt or eggs. Instead of just buttered toast, choose eggs or cottage cheese. Instead of just soup for dinner, add lean meat, legumes like beans and lentils or tofu if you prefer plant-based options. Every single bite of protein you eat is like making an investment into your metabolism, your bones, and your ability to live independently without needing help from others. So, when experts warn women about weight gain after 60, this is one of the 5 RST mistakes they highlight every single time. Cutting back on protein at the exact moment when your body actually needs more than it ever did before. And that brings us straight to mistake number 3, a hidden habit that happens often at night and silently adds weight even while you sleep. For decades, nuts have been marketed as one of the healthiest snacks you can possibly eat. They're packed with protein, loaded with fiber, and contain fats that are supposed to boost heart health. And it's absolutely true that in small controlled amounts, they're fantastic for your body. But here's the hidden trap that almost nobody talks about. Even the healthiest nuts are still among the most calorie-dense foods on the entire planet. Just one handful of almonds, which is about 23 individual nuts, contains 160 calories. That may not sound like much when you hear it, but here's the problem. Most people don't stop at just one handful. Women over 60 who graze on nuts while watching television in the evening or who keep a jar on the counter for easy snacking can easily eat 3, 4, or even 5 handfuls without even realizing they're doing it. That's 600 to 800 extra calories in a single sitting. The equivalent of eating an entire fast food meal, but it's disguised as a healthy snack so you don't feel guilty about, it. This becomes especially dangerous for women over 60 for specific biological reasons. At this age, metabolism naturally slows down significantly. Hormone changes that happen after menopause make fat storage, particularly around the belly and hips, much more aggressive and stubborn. What once felt like a harmless, healthy snack becomes a silent driver of weight gain that you can't explain. A study found that adults who regularly ate nuts but didn't pay attention to portion sizes gained an average of 2 extra pounds per day, simply because of the surplus calories they didn't account for over 5 years. That's an additional 10 lbs, often accumulating in the very areas where women are most desperate to slim down and feel better about themselves. The truth is that nuts should be treated almost like medicine. The right dose heals and helps your body. The wrong dose causes harm. The key is practicing mindful portion control every single time. For women in their senior years, that means sticking to a small handful, about 1 oz or enough, or to fit in the palm of your hand, not a never-ending stream from a large container. Pairing nuts with high water foods like fresh apples or cucumbers can also help reduce calorie overload while still getting all the benefits of healthy fats, protein, and fiber that nuts provide. So, the next time you reach for what you think are healthy snacks, remember that too much of a good thing can quietly become the very mistake that's keeping you from losing weight and feeling better. Speaking of habits that happen, when you're not paying attention, our next mistake is one that occurs throughout the day, and it's one of the most overlooked drivers of fat gain in women over 60. One of the silent but absolutely devastating mistakes many women in their senior years make every single day is swapping out plain water for fruit juices. The labels on these bottles shout messages like 100% natural, no added sugar, and packed with vitamins. The marketing makes you feel like you're doing something wonderful for your body. But here's the hidden truth that nobody wants you to know. Drinking fruit juice is often no better than drinking soda when it comes to your waistline and your long term health. Why is this the case? Because the process of making juice removes the very thing that makes whole fruit safe for your metabolism, and that's the fiber. Fiber is what slows down sugar absorption in your digestive system, keeping blood glucose stable and preventing dangerous insulin spikes that lead to fat storage. And without that fiber, that glass of orange juice you thought was protecting your heart and giving you vitamins is actually flooding your bloodstream with a massive sugar surge. For women over 60, this is particularly dangerous for several reasons. Aging bodies process glucose much less efficiently than younger bodies. Muscle tissue is naturally reduced as you age. Insulin sensitivity declines year after year. The result of all this is that fat storage, especially around the belly and internal organs, increases rapidly and becomes extremely difficult to reverse. Studies have shown that a single 8 oz serving of apple juice, just one glass, contains 24 g of sugar. That's the equivalent of 6 teaspoons of pure sugar, and it offers almost zero feeling of fullness or satisfaction. You'll still be hungry 30 minutes later, but your blood sugar and insulin levels will already be soaring to dangerous heights. Take Margaret, a 65-year-old woman. She proudly told everyone she avoided soda and drank orange juice with breakfast every single day, thinking she was making a healthy choice. But despite walking 3 times a week and carefully watching her meals, she kept gaining weight steadily. Her fasting blood sugar crept into a dangerous range, and she couldn't understand why this was happening when she was trying so hard. When she finally cut out juice completely and switched to plain water and whole fruit instead, the changes were absolutely dramatic. Within 6 months, she lost 12 lbs. Her belly fat shrank noticeably. Her energy levels improved so much that she felt like a different person. Her story is not unique at all. Thousands of women over 60 fall into this exact same trap. Eve rise single day without realizing the damage they're doing. The solution is simple but incredibly powerful. Swap juice for water and eat whole fruits instead. A fresh orange has all the fiber your body needs, contains fewer calories, and leaves you feeling genuinely full and satisfied. A glass of plain water hydrates your cells, supports muscle metabolism, and protects your kidneys from working overtime. The best part is that this small swap alone can save a woman over 60% more than 25,000 calories a year, which is the equivalent of nearly 8 lb of fat. If this information surprised you, wait until you hear the number one silent mistake. This is the one that nearly every woman in her senior years makes, often without realizing it's happening. And it can double your fat storage while you sleep. This is the silent trap that almost every woman over 60 falls into, and it's sitting still for hours at a time. Maybe it's watching television in the evening after dinner. Maybe it's reading a book in your favorite chair. Maybe it's scrolling through messages on a tablet or phone. It feels harmless and even restful after a long day. But medically speaking, sitting still for long stretches is one of the most powerful triggers of weight gain and dangerous fat storage in women over 60. Why does this happen? Because the human body is designed to move regularly throughout the day. When you sit for more than 2 hours at a time without getting up, muscle activity in your legs drops dramatically and almost completely stops. This lowers your calorie burn by up to 30% instantly. It also shuts down specific enzymes in your body that normally help process fat and sugar in your blood. The result is simple but extremely dangerous. Sugar levels spike higher and stay elevated longer. Fat stores faster and more aggressively. Circulation slows down through OY, making it much easier for fat to accumulate around the belly and internal organs. Think about Linda, who is 70 years old. She retired from her job and started spending her afternoons watching television for 4 or 5 hours straight without moving. She ate the same amount of food as before, sometimes even less than when she was younger and more active, but her belly fat kept growing month after month. She couldn't understand what was happening. Her doctor explained something that changed everything for her. It wasn't just about diet or what she was eating. It was about her sedentary hours and the damage they were causing. Once Linda began setting a timer to stand up and walk around every 30 minutes, Even just for 2 minutes at a time, her waistline slowly shrank over the following months. She felt more energy throughout the day without changing her meals at all. The physiology behind this explains everything clearly. When muscles go still for too long, insulin sensitivity plummets dramatically, meaning your body can't handle blood sugar efficiently anymore. Excess sugar in your blood gets shuttled straight into fat cells, especially the ones around your abdomen and internal organs. At the same time, blood flow slows significantly, so fatty acids build up in your bloodstream, raising cholesterol levels and increasing fat storage signals throughout your entire body. This is exactly why women over 60 who sit too much often notice both belly fat increasing and cholesterol numbers rising at the same time. It's not a coincidence at all. It's direct cause, an effect happening inside your body. The good news is that the solution is surprisingly simple and doesn't require joining a gym or buying equipment. Research shows very clearly that just standing up and walking for 2 minutes every half hour can reverse most of the damage that sitting causes. It reactivates the enzymes that clear fat from your blood. It wakes up your muscles and gets them working again. It stabilizes blood sugar levels naturally. For women in their senior years, this isn't about hitting the gym for hours every day or running marathons. It's about breaking up the sitting time throughout your day. Walk to the kitchen to get water, stretch your arms above your head, do a simple lap around the room or down the hallway. Small movements like these are enough to keep your metabolism active and keep fat storage at bay. So, if you want to stop the silent weight gain that happens after 60, pay very close attention to your sitting hours. Exercise matters absolutely, but even more important is what you do during the other 23 hours of the day when you're not formally exercising. Staying sedentary for long hours is the number one mistake that fuels fat gain in women over 60. But it's also one of the easiest mistakes to fix if you make the choice to move just a little more and a little more often throughout your day. Now you know the 6 silent mistakes that creep up on women after they turn 60. Skipping protein at breakfast and starting the day with almost nothing substantial, falling for low-fat traps that are actually loaded with hidden sugars, not mere eating enough protein throughout the rest of the day to maintain muscle. Overeating healthy snacks like nuts without paying attention to portions, sipping fruit juices instead of drinking plain water, and sitting still for hours at a time without breaking it up with movement. Each of these mistakes may feel small and insignificant on its own, but together they explain exactly why so many women in their senior years suddenly gain weight, even when they genuinely think they're doing everything right. These aren't just cosmetic issues that affect how you look in the mirror. They fuel serious conditions, muscle loss, blood sugar problems, heart disease, and loss of independence that makes life harder as you age. But here's the genuinely good news that should give you hope. Every single one of these mistakes has a fix that you can start today. Choosing whole proteins at every meal, embracing healthy fats instead of avoiding them, carefully portioning snacks even when they're healthy, hydrating with plain water throughout the day, moving every half hour, even if it's just for 2 minutes. These changes don't just shrink your waistline and help you fit into your clothes better. They protect your heart from disease. They protect your brain from decline. They protect your freedom to live on your own terms without needing help from others. Think about which of these mistakes you struggle with the most in your own life. Which one are you going to commit to fixing first starting today? Your body is not betraying you or working against you. It's simply responding to the choices you make every single day. Fix these mistakes, and you'll take back control of your health. No matter what your age is right now,